questions. We'll start with Phil Perry, followed by Jim McBride.
Hey, Josh, how's it going?
Good, Phil. How you doing?
Good, thanks. I wanted to ask about something that Mac said on the radio this week, which was he was a little disappointed, I guess, because he let the Texans touch the football a little too often for his liking. Where do you stand in terms of your assessment of how Mac is weighing risk versus reward in terms of the throws that he's willing to try in game?
Generally, he's been good about that. But I think what he said is accurate in terms of room for improvement, because the goal certainly is that they don't touch it ever. And so until we are doing that on a week-to-week basis, I don't think really our goal would be met, which is don't give them any chances to have their hands on the ball. So I'm glad he feels that way. And again, there was a few chances that they had in the game to do that. Look, there's going to be a chance or two, maybe on a down the field play, where our guy has to go up and make a play for the ball. Their guy might have a chance to touch the ball. Those are going to happen periodically through the course of the year. The ones that we want to avoid are the ones where they have a chance to touch the ball and our guy really doesn't have an opportunity to do so. So just goes back to being disciplined, reading the coverage on every play, and then making a smart decision if the play itself doesn't have somebody available, to our liking, then just make a smart decision. Let's live to play another day. Very, very rarely are we going to say we lost the game because we threw an incomplete pass in the second quarter. And so just doing a good job being disciplined and making good decisions.
Are you more okay with a little bit more aggressiveness when you're in a situation like in that game where you guys were behind and, the score dictates playing a certain way? Does that allow you to be okay with those moments, I guess?
I think being aggressive and making poor decisions are not the same thing, though. You know what I mean? And so I think you can do both. You can be aggressive and you can give your players a chance. He gave Hunter a chance on the flag route on the touchdown, and had to get it over top of somebody's hand. That's being aggressive and giving your guy a chance. There's other examples, I'm sure, where we could have made maybe a better decision here or there. So we just want to try to be as aggressive as we can be to try to score, but also be smart in those situations. If there's really nothing there and you just really the percentages are not nearly in your favor, then you just got to do the right thing and protect the team.
Got it. Thanks, Josh.
Yep.
Next question, Jim McBride, followed by Bob Sosi.
Hi, Josh.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, I wanted to ask you about Brandon Bolden and just, how valuable his leadership is and his locker room presence, and kind of more specifically that run he had on Sunday, that 24-yard run, and how he was able to find that cutback lane.
Yeah. Brandon's been a great teammate ever since we've had him here. I was fortunate to be here when we brought him here. I've seen him grow and develop, mature. There's a lot of things that happen over the course of your career that impact you. And Brandon, he played early as a rookie on offense. He played in the kicking game. He's been an unselfish teammate for his whole career. Certainly values his role in special teams, is always ready to go offensively on any down or any situation that we use him in, and has been productive in all those roles. So I have a deep respect for Brandon and appreciation for the kind of person he is and the kind of teammate he is. And Sunday was no different. Throw him in there, ready to go on third down, caught a couple balls, then made a big run there, towards the end. I think Brandon's always had good vision and good speed. And, he got around the crack block, and then he did a good job of trying to set up the tackles block, and then found the little cutback there before he kind of burst into the secondary. So have a lot of confidence in Brandon on offense. I know he's a really important piece to our special teams as well. So couldn't say enough good things about Brandon Bolden.
Thanks, Josh.
Next question, Bob Sosi, followed by Mike Giardi.
Thanks, Stace. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, Bob.
Question regarding your statement about aggressiveness and making good decisions, and you use the line, "If there's really nothing there, you do the right thing and protect the team." And I'm curious, when the balance between when you're trailing by multiple scores, between being safe in scoring range and not making a mistake that costs you an opportunity to get points, but also the urgency with time. What factors into your mind when you're play calling in those spots? Are you counting possessions, assuming your defense is going to stop them there on out? I mean, what are you thinking, as that game goes along and you pull within a couple of scores, a field goal and a touchdown, for example?
Yeah. I think each game is different. I think you kind of got to have a feel for your team, first of all, and how you're playing offensively, and have an opportunity to understand the momentum in the game and what you need to do to keep it, if you have it. Just there's times where you can count a possession or two, out, but in Sunday's game, there was quite a few possessions that took a number of minutes off the clock. So it's kind of hard to always be accurate in that regard. But I mean, when you're down more than one score, my overall philosophy, unless it's, the last couple minutes of the game, has kind of always been, we need to be productive with this possession. We can't worry about the next possession, what comes after this one, how many more we're going to get. There's no way to score 10 points on one drive. We know that. And so try to keep, as poised as you can, try to make one good call after another as best you can and give ourselves a chance to score. So I don't always do that, the right way. And hopefully I learn from my mistakes if I make them and try to do better the next time. But I think trying to stay calm and in the moment and be as productive as you can with each series that you have the ball in those situations is more important than trying to be frantic and hurry and then make mistakes and not be as productive as you wanted to be.
Thank you.
Next question, Mike Giardi, followed by Nick O'Malley.
Afternoon, Josh.
Hey, Mike.
I was wondering, kind of going back to the beginning of this conversation about Max saying he let them touch the ball too much. When he has some throws like that, does that change how you call a game? Like, hey, we got to dial it back a little bit to sort of maybe get his feet back under him? Or are you still, hey, you're here, you're good enough, we're going to keep doing what we do, just do it better?
Yeah, I do not lose confidence in him. I think he's demonstrated already, in a short time that, he's able to do the things we're asking him to do. And he's generally protected the ball. He's generally found the open player and thrown him the ball accurately and given us a chance to move the ball in the passing game. So again, I just go back to any young player. You just try to use those as teachable moments. Sometimes he probably wishes I didn't have ability to communicate to him in his helmet, because I can actually do it on the spot. I don't have to wait for him to come over to the sideline. But that's just part of being a quarterback and learning from those experiences and just being able to say, hey, if it's not there, just, be smart, we're not going to lose on an incomplete pass here. So, he's learning from each one of he learns by series, honestly. I mean, it's really a fun opportunity to go through this experience with a young player. It's been this way my whole career. I've really enjoyed coaching the young guys because they're sponges and they are going to make a mistake here and there. It's impossible to believe that they're going to go into a game and play 60 minutes and never do anything that needs corrected. So, you just take those opportunities to try to teach them. And at the same time, he knows that I'm not going to lose my confidence in him. It's the National Football League. He's the starting quarterback. We got to try to win the game, and I believe in him. I trust him. I trust our entire offense, and we just got to go back out there and make the right play the next time. So, like I said, I think he learns from each one of those opportunities and mistakes, and he's done a good job of trying not to make it a second time, and we'll continue to press on that.
Do you have to? You were with Tom for so long. You guys would have some back and forth, right? There'd be some yelling back and forth. do you have to sort of gauge where he is, how he feels in regard to your response to him? Like, because I'm sure there's sometimes be like, what do you, don't do that, but do you have to?
Yeah, I think you got to
figure it out?
have an understanding of who you're speaking to. I mean, every player is not the same, and each player may need a little something different from you. And so, for the most part, I'm trying to just teach with him. I mean, emotion doesn't do us much good in the middle of the game like that, one way or the other. Not to say that the players can't be emotional when they make a good play or whatever. That's fine. I just talk about, we're trying to coach them and correct them, as best I can, which I don't always succeed at that. You just try to keep the emotion out of it and get the point to them so that if it comes up in a game again, that we do the right thing. So, yeah, it just, each guy's different. Each man's different. Tom was different. Mac's different. Hoyer's different, Stidham, Jimmy. I mean, I've had a lot of them. So they need a certain type of communication. The most important thing is that our communication is understood, and that the point that we're trying to make, that they understand it and they go out there and do it the next time.
Thanks, Josh.
Yep.
Next question, Nick O'Malley, followed by Andrew Callahan.
Hi, Josh. I wanted to ask about the offensive line situation on Sunday. Have you been in any situation where you've had such a significant turnover in terms of starters playing one week and then switching to almost all backups the next week? And how much of an adjustment do you need to make offensively, knowing that your number of players going from backup to starter, and even a guy like Yadney getting his first NFL snaps?
Yeah. I don't believe I was ever in a game that was that had that big of a swing. It's just an interesting opportunity that we were presented with. I thought that the players really responded very well to it. I mean, look, these guys are all NFL football players, and they have a lot of pride in themselves, and they work really hard to do the best they can at their job. So I had no doubt in my mind they were going to go out there and give us everything they had and play with great effort, and they did. But again, I think I've said this many times, we have a bucket every week, and our bucket's filled with the players that we have an opportunity to play with and that are going to be active, that are healthy. And we have to choose a scheme to fit those players based on the opponent that we're playing. And so if that means we have to do more of something one week and less of something the next week, then that's what we have to do. If we have to be, throw the ball quick one week and protect it up the next week, or run it more from this grouping or that grouping, those are the choices that we try to make based on educated decisions we're going through day after day here during the course of the week. And so I thought the players really responded well last week to what we tried to ask them to do. And then, to go out there and run the ball for 130 yards and, give up one sack and, generally move the ball forward most of the day. I thought that they responded very well, and I was proud of their performance.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Probably two last questions here, Andrew Callahan and Tom Curran.
Hey, Josh, it's good to see you.
Hey,
I wanted to ask, I know you guys talk a lot about being a game plan operation week to week, and then over the course of the season, you kind of learn what you're best at and more or less roll with that in different ways. How close do you think you are through 5 weeks to learning, the things that you're best at here as an offense?
Getting closer. There's definitely some things that I think we repeat now, and we feel pretty good in terms of our comfort level at this point. I think there's still some growing together as we work together with one another. And what I mean by that is, Mac throwing with Kendrick Bourne, Mac throwing with Nelly, Mac understanding the differences between Hunter and Jonnu. Now Brandon Bolden's in there a little bit more on third down than James White. What used to be, there's still some growth there. I see the same things up front. The tight ends blocking with the tackles. Last week it was a couple of different tackles than normal. So I think just the ability to work in combination with some of the other players that we are working with in the passing game, running game, up front, what have you. I think that will continue to be a little bit of a work in progress. But schematically, I think we're trying to settle in on some things that we feel like we know how to do. And there's always going to be an element each week of something that maybe we don't do it a lot, but we're going to do it this week more. Certainly that happened in Houston, and I'm sure it'll happen again this week against a really good defense in Dallas. So I feel better about where we're at. I think by 6 to 8 weeks, you kind of know, where you're at and what you want to, and really more than anything else, what you want to stop trying to get good at. Because that's really where you can waste your time during the season as a coach is, you went into the season with this mindset, like, I really want to be good at this. I really want to be good at this. And then you look at yourself, 6, 8 weeks in, you're like, we're no good at this, and at that point as a coach, it's time to cut bait and just say, listen, we're good at other things. And we tried for 3 months to really make this go. And, for whatever reason, it could be a number of reasons, it's not very productive. So it's time to move forward and let the players do the things that they do best. And I think, like I said, I think we're getting closer to that.
Along those lines of just doing things different, you mentioned Houston, obviously, using Jonnu, Hunter, and even Ramondre there for snaps as kind of a lead blocker. Like, it's how much just it doesn't seem, at least in my opinion, that the expectation of seeing Jonnu and Hunter on the field together has happened as frequently as we want. Do you feel like there's a lot more to unlock there, or at least still figure out in that a lot with when you're in 12 personnel, basically?
Yeah, I think with those two guys, we're asking them to do a lot of different things. And some of it has been more, I would say, circumstance in the game, Andrew, relative to, if you're behind and you're going to have to throw the ball, then, we might be more in 11 personnel than 12 personnel in those situations. So I think starting the game better, which is going to be a big focal point as we go forward, if we can start better and get ahead and get the lead and play from ahead in those situations, you generally then have more choices as to what you want to be in as opposed to what you have to be in. So I definitely think there's more to those two guys being on the field together. There's no question about it in all situations that we're looking forward to trying to develop. And again, hopefully we can gain control of the games. And at that point, then it's kind of dealer's choice what you want to use, as opposed to, we got to be in our 11 personnel grouping because we're more in a throwing mode or what have you.
Thanks, Josh.
Yep.
And last question, we've gone over here. Tom.
No doubt. Yeah, I'll keep it tight. Thank you so much for all the time you're spending. But I'm sure when you watch a football game, there's times where you look and you go, what are they doing? Why are they doing that? And I think that occurs sometimes, always with an offensive coordinator, regardless of the game you're watching. You guys got in the third quarter down to, where the hell was it? Down to the Houston 36. You went Damian Harris for 3 yards, Damian Harris up the middle for -3. And then I think it was a screen outside on 3rd and 10 from the 36 to Bolden, and he got 3, and you kicked the field goal, 52 yards. And I think that's one of those times where people, what is he doing? Why did he do that? Why are we running the ball there? Can you just give a insight into, because you're a smart guy, why that would be?
Yeah. I would say this. I would never call something that I didn't have confidence or faith in that could be the right call. And I have also never had a game where I've had every call be right either. And so I'm human. I know that for a fact. I make just as many mistakes as anybody else does. And the intent is always right. And because I want us to be able to do the things we're calling well. And I always will take responsibility for the execution if it's not good. That's my job. So, there was that series, and then there was another series too that I wasn't super proud of either, where we get down there and just, kind of stumble around and don't have enough positive plays to continue to move it and get it in. So, I always look back on those things and try to figure out how I could have made it a difference there. Certainly those 3 plays that you're referring to were not our 3 best plays of the day. And I have to do better. And that's what I'm going to focus on trying to do. And again, give our guys the best chance to be successful in those plays. But I understand look, I get it from my wife. So it's, the frustration is, I understand it. I just hope I never am going to try to call a play that I feel like doesn't have a good chance to be successful. We were trying to be balanced in the game on Sunday for sure, not try to get too far away from, running the football based on our situation and circumstances, and try to do that as we went through 4 quarters. And I thought that eventually helped us. It certainly didn't help us there in that series, though.
Truly appreciate it. Thank you, bud.
You got it, Tom.
Thank you very much.
Just before I get off, I want to say congratulations to all the Red Sox. That was awesome. Really, really enjoyed watching the ending of the game last night.